Hello everyone, today I'm going to be chatting about the most disappointing makeup that I've tried so far in 2024. I was going to call this the worst makeup of 2024 so far, but I feel like not all of these products are bad products. They just didn't get along with me, or they didn't meet my expectations of what I thought they were going to be. Most of this I purchased with my own money, and these were things that I really truly thought I was going to like going into it, and they just ended up not working out for one reason or another. And I like to do these roundup videos every quarter because I try so many things. I feel like waiting until the end of the year to talk about the best and worst makeup of 2024, it's just too long and it gets way too overwhelming. So I like to do these roundups in March, June, September, and then again at the end of the year. And I am going to be doing a best of 2024 sometime this week before March is over. So definitely stay tuned for that. But let's go ahead and just get into these products that really just didn't work out for me. First up, I want to talk about this brow pen from LA Girl. So this is the LA Girl Brow Ink Micro Brush Detailer pen. So I tried this in like a get ready with me a couple months ago. And initially when I was putting it on, I thought that I had chosen the wrong shade because it looked a little bit too warm. And then when I played the video back when I was editing, I'm like, actually that color looks pretty good. And then a lot of you in the comments said that's like the best brow color for you. You should definitely stick with that pen. And I ended up loving this, not just for the color, which was soft brown, by the way, but also because it has that really micro fine tip, and it's like the finest tip on any eyebrow pen I've tried so far. I typically use the NYX Lift and Snatch, but compared to the NYX, this one is so teeny tiny and it creates those really supernatural hair-like strokes. So while I was using this, I can tell you I've never gotten so many compliments on my brows before. Everybody in every video was like, what are you doing with your brows? They look amazing. So I was head over heels for this, ready to just say this is my holy grail brow pen at this point and just stop buying the NYX one. But about 2.5 to 3 weeks in of using this brow pen, it just kind of stopped. It ran out of ink and I was so disappointed. One day I had actually done one brow with the pen and then I went to the other side and I'm like, why is nothing coming out? And it was like really faint at first and then it just kind of slowly trailed off and it was gone. And I'm sorry, but it should not run out that quickly. The NYX one lasts me a couple of months. So this was one of the biggest disappointments of the year so far, just for that reason alone. It's something that I absolutely love, but there's no way I'm gonna buy a new one of these every couple of weeks. So I've just been going back and using the NYX one again, and that one's fine. I really do like it. I have the shade Ash Brown in that. It works for me and it lasts a while, so I think I'm just gonna stick with that one. And not to pick on LA Girl, but I also was super disappointed in their eyeshadow palettes this year. So I ended up getting their Glow Envy Desert palette and also 2 of these nude palettes that they just came out with recently. And I was really excited for these because LA Girl had one of my most favorite formulas at the drugstore, especially when it came to the shimmer shades, because we all know drugstore eyeshadows kind of still have a long way to go as far as making really creamy eyeshadows. A lot of them can be sort of dry and dusty, and LA Girl really stood out because they had these super foiled metallic creamy shimmer shades. But unfortunately, these new palettes, whatever they're doing, the shimmers end up being the type that just get hard pan almost right away. You have to really dig just to get any kind of pigment, and then they just leave a very faint wash of color on your lids. And I know that this type of shadow is more popular these days. A lot of people love glitter toppers, and I use them myself. I mean, for different looks, it's fine. But I also like, I don't know, I just like a variety, and I love when palettes have some of those traditional metallic shades and maybe like 1 or 2 toppers just to accent a little bit. But unfortunately, these palettes were mostly toppers. I did like the matte shades in these palettes, but honestly, it just ruined the LA Girl experience for me because I think what I loved most about them were their shimmer shades. Now, some of you guys might love these more sheer topper shades, in which case you will really like these palettes, I think. But if you're like me and you loved LA Girl for their shimmer formula, you're gonna be disappointed in these as well. Another drugstore product that really let me down were these Revlon serum blushes from their Illuminance line. And I love the Illuminance foundation. I like the skin tint that they came out with at the same time as these. So I thought these were gonna be amazing. I have really good luck with most Revlon products. but I was shocked at how sheer these are. When I went to put them on, they just completely disappear. All right, so you start blending, right? And it looks like the color is there. But then you keep blending. Let's say you're just blending it out on your cheek, and it just starts to disappear and turn into nothing. Like, it is so sheer. It's ridiculous. I couldn't believe it. Like, there's hardly anything there. Now, I think out of the 4 shades that are in this line, there is one that's kind of like a bright hot pink. That one's actually pigmented. The other 3 are completely like this. Like, they just don't show up at all. And I had to keep, I remember in that video, I kept packing on more and more and more. And the more I added, the more patchy it got. It started to lift my foundation underneath. I just started feeling like these were so difficult to use for no payoff, basically. So I really, really wanted to love these, and I felt like I gave them a really good chance. I tried them out over a couple of weeks, just trying to make them work, and I don't love them. If you guys have any tips for me, if you've been able to make these work, definitely let me know. Next up, we have the new Catrice Skin Tint. This was called the Nude Drop Tinted Serum. And again, I tried this in a video, and I initially really loved the way that it went on. I felt like it had better coverage than a lot of other skin tints have. And the one thing that really, really impressed me is that it doesn't have alcohol in the formula. And we see alcohol in the L'Oreal skin tint, the Maybelline one, the new Wet n Wild one had alcohol, and most of them just end up looking super dry on my skin. So when I first saw this, I thought it was going to be like all the rest. I looked at the ingredients and was pleasantly surprised that it didn't have denatured alcohol. So I decided to try it. I had really high hopes, but unfortunately, this looked super dry on my skin. When I went to do a check-in in that video, I was pretty surprised at how it actually looked. It was clinging on my forehead and my nose and my chin, and it just, to put it bluntly, my skin looked horrible. It really just was one of the worst foundation products I've tried in a really long time, and it also faded a lot. I felt like it didn't stick to my nose. I lost a lot of coverage wearing it throughout the day, and I wasn't even doing anything other than just sitting around home. So I was really, really bummed about this one because, like I said, I had very high hopes. Another foundation that launched very recently that I wasn't crazy about is the Kosas BB Burst Tinted Gel Cream. So this, when I first applied it, it reminded me a lot of the Neutrogena Skin Tint, which I love. That one is another like holy grail kind of product, but this one made my skin look a little dry throughout the day. And I feel like the Neutrogena one kind of plumps up my skin as I wear it. It just almost looks better and better as time goes on. And with this one, it looked good initially, and then when I went to look at my skin a couple hours later, it looked dry in certain areas. And another huge disappointment that I had with this also is that it's heavily fragranced. And I wasn't expecting that from Kosas because they're more of like a clean type of brand. And usually those clean brands don't heavily fragrance their products. And when I put this on, I was not expecting to smell this smell. I mean, it's like a pretty strong floral scent. And, you know, it says that it blurs your skin. I didn't really see any of that. It was just like your basic everyday skin tint. So personally, I just didn't feel like this one was really worth it. Also, another foundation I was very excited about was the e.l.f. Camo Hydrating CC Cream. This one, again, my expectations were way up here and they ended up falling pretty fast after I tried it because this is like no different than the original. And that completely baffled me because I know the original one was supposed to be like a dupe for the IT Cosmetics CC Cream, which I don't think it was either. I like the CC Cream better than I do the e.l.f. one. So in my mind, I was thinking this might be a dupe for the IT Cosmetics CC Nude Glow, which is my favorite. I really love that one. I think it's more hydrating than their original CC cream. It's a little bit lighter in coverage. I just prefer it. So like I said, I thought this one was going to be like that. It was going to have a little less coverage. It might look a little more hydrating on the skin. No, this one looked so similar to the original, even though it says that it has a dewy finish. I didn't find it to look particularly dewy on my dry skin. It had more of just like a regular satin finish. And like the original CC cream, I also felt like this looked makeup-y on me. It kind of highlighted my pores a little bit more. It clung to dry patches. It had that very obvious I'm wearing foundation kind of look rather than a more natural finish that I kind of gravitate toward these days. So I was very disappointed disappointed. I think I was expecting something a lot different than what this actually ended up being. And then recently I had also tried the new Milk Makeup Cloud Primer, and this is supposed to be like a primer foam. It's actually really fun. It's like a neat product. When you put it on, you know, it's like this foamy texture, and then you blend it in. It's supposed to give you like a really smooth canvas for makeup. It said it was supposed to illuminate and brighten your skin. I didn't really see any of that. It felt like I was just basically putting water on my face, and that's it. I didn't notice any benefits from it. I didn't feel like it was particularly hydrating once I put it on, and it dried down. My skin basically felt the same. Again, it didn't leave my skin with a glow. It didn't blur my pores. It didn't like have a grippy texture to help hold my makeup on. I just really couldn't figure out what the purpose of it was. It is supposed to have some skincare benefits, but I already use skincare. So I just feel like if I'm gonna use a primer, I want it to do something. I want it to, like I said, I want it to blur my pores and make my skin look really smooth, or I want it to help my makeup to last longer. And if it's not gonna do anything, it's basically no more than a skincare product for me. And since I'm using skincare products anyway, I just really didn't see the benefits of this. Another eyeshadow palette that I was kind of disappointed in were the Huda Beauty Creamy palettes. So I did a whole video on these. I did a look with each one. And when I first saw these teased on Trend Moods page, I thought they looked so beautiful, particularly the grayish one, which I mean, these colors are gorgeous. I love the cool tones. And when I saw this, I kind of made up my mind right away. I'm gonna get this. But then Huda ended up sending it to me in PR. So I was really surprised when it came and I opened it up and it was all cream shadows. Even though it's called the Creamy palette, I guess I was kind of thinking it was referring to the color story. I don't know why. Just in my mind, I wasn't thinking that these were gonna be all cream shadows, but that's exactly what it is. And I don't have a problem with cream shadows. I do like them a lot, especially just single cream shadows that come in their own little pots. I'm not a fan of cream shadows in eyeshadow palettes because I find that they just dry out really quickly. Natasha Denona has a lot of cream shadows in her palettes, and I find that within a year or so, they're almost unusable. Same thing with Huda's other cream shadows that she has in palettes. So longevity with these is a huge concern for me. And also, I just felt like cream shadows can be a little bit more sheer. So I felt like to get any impact with this palette, even the darker shades, I really had to build and build them. And I was satisfied with the look that I got in the video with both palettes. I think they came out really nice, but it was very, very soft and subtle. And I feel like that's pretty much the only thing that I can get out of this palette. So if I want to do something a little bit deeper and smokier, I don't think I'm going to get it with this formula. And for that reason, these were a bit disappointing to me. I wish that maybe they had a couple of cream shadows mixed with some powder just to help set the cream a little bit or to intensify or deepen things up if I want to. So while these aren't terrible, they just weren't what I was expecting them to be, which left me feeling a bit disappointed. Also, let's talk about these e.l.f. Pout Clout lip plumping pens. So if you watched my video on these, you know that I really did not like the formula, and that was a bummer because e.l.f. has been really like on fire with the dupes lately, and when I saw this, I thought of the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Plumps right away, and I love those. I think those are amazing. But unfortunately, I don't know, these just kind of fell flat for me, and for a couple of reasons. They do have a melty texture like the Tarte ones, but these are thicker and they're not as smooth. So when you go to put them on, I know like I showed up close in the video where I tried these, when you press your lips together, it kind of makes those weird strings, like your lips kind of stick and the lipstick kind of stretches in between. It's not pretty, it's not flattering at all. I also felt like these kind of accentuated my lip lines and they looked patchy. When I looked up close, they just didn't really sit smoothly on my lips. Now, I know that there was some drama going on over on TikTok with, I think it was Glamzilla had tried these and said she didn't like them, kind of for the same reasons that I said that I didn't like them. And then there was another creator who called her out and said, you're applying too much product. So that made me think, and I was like, you know what? I did put a lot on. Let me go back and try these again, just using a smaller amount. I did that, but I still don't like them, and I think it might be because I have a lot of lines in my lips. I don't know. I just felt like even with a little amount, they just didn't sit right. Like they didn't look smooth. And at least when I put on less product, it didn't do the weird stringy thing. So that was a good thing. But I feel like with the Tarte formula, I don't have to be careful about how much I put on. I just put it on. It looks smooth and glassy, and also it doesn't like make the weird little strings. So I might be in the minority with these because I know a lot of people really like them, but for me, I just had a bad experience, and I do prefer the high-end version, even though I think e.l.f.'s dupes are really good for the most part, and I've had good luck with them. This was one that I felt like they just kind of missed the mark a little bit. Also, from Flower Beauty, they had released the ultralight liquid blushes. And again, this is one of those Charlotte Tilbury-esque type of blush products that everybody's coming out with. And I know Flower already did the highlighters, they did the contour wands. So of course we knew that the blushes were coming. And I wasn't a big fan of the contour wands because I felt like they looked patchy and they kind of like lifted up my foundation. They dry so fast that you have a hard time blending them. But the highlighter ones I really loved. So I had hope that the blush ones were gonna be good, and I didn't find them to be patchy, and they don't dry as quickly as the contour. I liked the formula a little bit better, but I also thought that these were sheer. I had to build them up a lot. And of course, when you keep building up liquid products, then they start to kind of get a little bit patchy or mess with your foundation. And kind of like my experience with the Revlon ones, these I just felt like they didn't show up as well as I thought they were going to. They're definitely not similar to the Charlotte Tilbury because those are very pigmented. You just put one dot on your cheek and blend and you can see the color. And with these were much more sheer. Not to mention the colors that they come in are absolutely beautiful, but on my skin, they almost all looked the same. And a lot of you had mentioned that in the comments of the video when I tried these on, like you don't really see a lot of difference between each color. And again, I think that's just because they're so sheer. You're not really able to see the individual colors that well. So I was bummed about these because I really love Flower Beauty. Most of their products are major hits for me, but this one kind of let me down a little bit. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much what I have for the products that disappointed me the most. And really out of all of the products that I've tried since January, and it's been a lot, there really weren't that many that I felt like didn't work out. So that really speaks to the quality of makeup these days. I think there really are so many amazing products out there that the duds are sort of becoming fewer and far between. So anyway, guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts on these products if you've tried them out. Let us know in the comments if you've tried these, and also please stay tuned for my best of 2024, which is going to be coming out very soon within the next week. So thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. If you have some extra time or if you'd like to watch some of my makeup reviews and see swatches and demos of all of these products, I'll just put a playlist right up there and you can check that out next. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all in my next one. Take care. Bye.